Hey everybody, TJ Simmers was a sports columnist for the Los Angeles Times who worked there from 1993 to 2013 or thereabouts, 1990 to 2013. At any rate, they let him go because they say he was trying to work a business deal in such a way that a friend of his who had a media company would gain exposure by filming on video a basketball shot contest with Simmers' daughter. Simmers' lawsuit said that had nothing to do with it at all, and really it was because of his health. He had a stroke, and the way the LA Times treated him after the stroke was absolutely horrible. The editors came down on him, ostensibly because during the stroke, with the stroke, he was probably making a few mistakes. And they cut his writing time from 2 weeks to 3, and also a slight reduction in pay because of that. Now, the man was making $239,000. He went from there to the Orange County Register, which on Sunday filed for bankruptcy, and there he was making $129,000. Why do I say all of that? Because it's not that Simmers wasn't worth that money, but there are people, for example, at Deadspin, who look at it as if to say, oh my God, he was never worth that kind of money. You don't get how media has changed when you make a comment like that. In the days during the 21st or the 20th century, what you were counting on was the overall demand for papers, not web traffic, papers that the LA Times generated, okay? And within that, you had columnists like TJ Simmers. It wasn't the individual content that person generated. No, it was that the Times decided to bring that person in and make him a part of its stable of writers they believe are great, and pay him money that is commensurate with being part of the LA Times brand. Now here's where media has changed. There are people who work for websites like Rivals, for example, who write arguably about as much as Simmers did, and yet make the grand total of $50 per month. You heard me, $50 per month. Why? Because their individual posts do not generate enough traffic to dictate the kind of salary that Mr. Simmers is pulling in, or was pulling in at the time. And it's because media has changed. The LA Times can no longer count on its brand name to attract on the web as many visitors and as many views as it would take to pay someone like a Mr. Simmers $200,000. $200,000 a year. Or, excuse me, $239,000 a year. Now, the only way you can hope to get eyeballs that justify anything close to that kind of salary is to be on television. That's it. And the nature of the web has caused this. Why? Because when you go online, as many of you know, you're just one click away from something else that might grab you. And absent any other way of pulling you back, hey, you're lost. You are maybe on their site for 2 minutes, maybe 3, maybe 4 at best. That would be remarkable. And then you're gone. You may not return for quite some time. That's quite different from just buying a newspaper and keeping that newspaper, and then the next day you buy a newspaper and you keep that, and you buy that and you keep that, and then at the end of the week you've got this stack of newspapers that you use for the birdcage or you throw out. That was the 20th century. That's gone. But because the LA Times treated Mr. Simmers the way they did, they now have to cough up $7.1 million.